to thank Alexis, my colleague who's sitting right there front row, who came with me all the way from Boston. We had a nice road trip. I'm excited to be here, and I am excited about the topic. It's a topic that's dear to my heart. So inshallah, we're actually going to explore this topic together. It's not going to be the entire time where I'm speaking. I'm actually going to have you guys think and talk. So it's going to be an interactive, inshallah, evening. But I'll start with a small talk. Okay. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I want you guys to close your eyes. Hordes of people, clashing noises, so many voices, multiplying sounds. Lost, alone, empty. Feel for a corner, feel for a chair. Sink down. This is a camp of empowerment and hope. Hope? Yes, hope. Like a hope for? No. No, no, no. I know what hope is. I hope I'm lost in the crowd. I hope I'm easily missed. I hope no one sees me. For this is what hope's for. Slump down. There's hope in being invisible. If I myself cannot see, I don't want to be seen. If I'm not seen, I am not hurt. If I'm not hurt, I can continue to exist. I've survived this past 12 years following this model. For this is hope, something this camp cannot teach me. Slump down. Press my body into my body to try and achieve perfection. I'm invisible now, and I can breathe. A hand, a gentle warm hand, touching my shoulder. An entire body wrapping around me, engulfing me, squeezing me. An enormous casual question. Hey, what's your name? Can I be your friend? I stammer, stutter, mumble, pause. Be my friend? Stumbling through words, tongue won't unloosen. I don't understand. How can he see me? You guys can open your eyes now. So this is a poem illustrating a true reflection of one of the kids we served in Lebanon who's blind. He's blind, as you can see. And as you can see, he's feeling, he's marginalized, like many kids out there with disabilities. There are 1 billion individuals in this world with a disability. That's 1/7 of the world's population. 1 billion. And only 2% of them have any education, and only 1% for females. This marginalization is the reality for most kids with disabilities out there. This reality was not my reality. I was blessed to have parents and teachers and a community that supported me. But most kids out there with disabilities are seen as a burden, are seen as a charity, and are seen as if they have no potential. I'll give you an example of actually a kid, just to illustrate this. I met a kid in Lebanon who was also 12 years old at the time. I entered his home in this village in southern Lebanon. He was sitting in the corner, and he had his feet up. He was sitting like crawled in the corner. And when I came to talk to him, he wouldn't look at me and he wouldn't talk. He does not know how to talk. Do you know why? Because no one talks to him. His mother left him when he was a baby because she found out he was blind. And his grandparents who are taking care of him are looking for a way to get rid of him. So in other words, he's literally waiting to die. Another story. I was in another village in Lebanon. And we were talking to a local mayor there. And he was saying that they found out that there was a blind woman living in the home after the parents died. The parents were hiding the blind girl. I can go on with these stories. I'll give you another one, but this one is in Thailand. We met a senator who's blind in Thailand. And he said that whenever he goes back home to his community, his mom wants him to hide his cane and not show that he's blind. Even though he's a senator in his country. So my question is, why? Why is that the reality of people with disabilities in this world? And it's not just for disabilities. We can talk about ableism, we can talk about racism, we can talk about sexism, and it all comes from the same root problem. Society, we label one another and we judge each other's potential and abilities, right? And we don't see the beauty in diversity. We don't see the beauty that we're all different for a reason. We don't see that Allah created us all imperfectly in a perfect way. Yes, I am blind. Yes, I cannot see. But I'm actually proud to be blind. It's been the biggest blessing in my life. People find that shocking when I say that. They find me a weirdo, but that's totally fine. Blindness for me has given me the ability to be creative, stubborn. A lot of my friends know I'm stubborn. My sister can testify to that. Resilient. So many different characteristics because you experience the world in a different way. But most of all, it's got me closer to Allah. It all comes down on how do you see the tests that Allah puts in your pathway. It all comes down to how do you see yourself. Do you see yourself through the eyes of society or do you see yourself through the eyes of Allah? Aren't we at the end of the day all creations of Allah? Isn't the Almighty God who created each one of us for a purpose? If we believe in that, then we believe that every single one of us has a purpose in this world. Society does tend to construct labels and then associate to those labels stigmas. And then those stigmas, what do? They hinder people's potential abilities. They block them from flourishing and coming out. Society constructs what success means, but constructs it and defines it in a very materialistic sense. You're successful if you get this job and you have so much money. You're successful if you do X, Y, and Z. But we, as servants of Allah, know success in a different way. Success to us is to serve Allah, is to please Allah, is to use the potential abilities that He's given us, each one of us, in a way to serve Him. Every single person in this room is majoring in a different major, right? Every single one of us in this room has a unique ability. We need to think about how can we use this potential and ability to serve Allah. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to do 3 activities. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, let's see. So first one. So I talked about so I'm going to just give you an overview of the activities. First, I talked about how society labels us, right? Society labels us. They look at, for instance, they look at me. What do they see? They see a blind, hijabi, Muslim woman. And from there, they start making assumptions. Beautiful. A lot of these assumptions can be, well, does this person even know how to send emails? Or, as a blind person. Or as a blind person also, She probably does not like math, even though I love math. I suck at writing, actually. So there's a lot of assumptions that society does because of our labels. So I want us right now, for the first activity, we're going to take 5 minutes to ourselves and think about our own iceberg. And what I mean by iceberg is that, you know how there's in the iceberg, on top of the water of the iceberg, that's what society sees us, and that's how they label us. But at the bottom of the water is our true selves, is the true iceberg. So I want you to reflect to yourself, what is the top of the iceberg to you? And then what is the bottom of the ocean, bottom of the iceberg to you? And then after 5 minutes, I'm gonna need a volunteer to actually showcase their own iceberg. Sounds good? Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, raise your hand, I can't see them, so say your name. So, say your name, I guess. Or come up.
Wow.
Okay, what is it? Bahia? What is it?
My name's Bahia.
Bahia. Oh, okay, cool.
Hi.
Okay, so are you being voluntold, or you wanna volunteer? Or are you willing to do it?
No, I'm willing.
Okay, cool, awesome. So actually stand up here, and I want first people to describe you. So I want to see what labels they would give you. So, what are the labels you give her?
Kind.
Oh, but are those like if you first meet her? Do you see that?
No.
Says kind.
Okay, kind. No, that's good. Okay, what else?
Shy.
Shy?
I usually don't get that.
Oh, okay, what else?
Muslim.
Muslim, yeah. Are you wearing a
I am.
headscarf? Okay, yeah, that's very obvious. Yeah. Okay. Cool. What is it?
African American.
African American. Okay, cool. Awesome. What else?
Asking intelligent questions.
Oh.
Oh,
Thank you.
she asked intelligent questions.
I try.
Awesome. What else do you guys see?
Cheerful.
Cheerful.
This is going on for a long time.
Okay, one more. Well, see, I think also she gets embarrassing because I'm kidding. What else? One more.
Great sense of fashion.
Oh, whoa. I'm just going to leave after this.
Okay. So, actually now, I would like for you to describe what people see on the top of the iceberg,
Okay.
and then how would you want people to see you? So what is in the bottom of the iceberg?
Okay, so, thank you. So on the top, I put Black, African American. I am a woman. I am Muslim. Well, I'm a hijabi, so I guess you can assume that. I feel like people see, like some people say cheerful. I'm pretty happy most of the time. And a lot of people would say childish. I'm very immature.
So that's the bottom of the iceberg, that you're mature. But
yeah.
people see you as childish.
That's the plot twist, yeah. On the bottom, maybe people don't know that I'm African. I'm Ugandan. I was born there. Maybe people don't know I'm the youngest in my family. Maybe people know that because the way I act. People might not know that I'm actually quite reserved. I feel like Jane might know this a lot. I kind of keep my space after a certain time. I need a reboot, you know? It's a lot to be happy all the time. People might not know that I'm pretty mature. I just want you guys to know. I don't know, I'm pretty optimistic about the future. But then I can also be pretty pessimistic about the world and where it's going and the people in it. Wow, they just went really dark. Yeah, I think that's all
Anything else that society might perceive in one way, and then you would want society to see in a different way? Like versus the matureness versus childliness. Any other aspects that are very similar to that?
I'm from Chelsea, Mass. So I feel like a lot of people expect me to be ghetto or ratchet. I'm really not. I don't think so. I went to Chelsea High, and they were like, you know, people have a reputation about Chelsea, and I know coming to college, it's like not common Chelsea has a lot of dropout rates, and so, coming to college, like, oh, you're from Chelsea? It's like, give us, we're trying. But we're also, like, pretty passionate people, and, yeah.
That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what that's awesome. That's awesome. Anything else?
My arms?
What's up with her arms?
Honor student.
Oh, no. Oh, that's another thing. People might think I'm smart. I'm really not.
That's not where we're trying to go.
Alright, so what I meant to say is, my mom talks a lot. You know how mom's always like, my child did this. So like, I'm always, I'm not in the honors college, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's just, wow, now I'm rambling. I really have to get
No worries. Well, thank you so much. Give her a round of applause. That was actually really, that was really brave of you, but yeah, and I'm really glad you actually gave some of these examples, and I wish we had more time to do a few more. The more that we do, we realize how much we tend to be seen in a certain way, but we are actually different in a different. So I just wanted to. Okay, and that's exactly, these labels are what can become our enablers and disablers. So let me talk about that. So she's actually a perfect example here because she is African American. There's a lot of racism in our communities, right? And that can actually be a disabler because of the stigma. She's a hijabi Muslim. That can also be a disabler in a lot of spaces, especially after the Trump era. She is a woman. That also can be a disabler. Poor Bahia, man, she's gonna have a tough time in life. No, but that could also be, there's a lot of gender inequality still in the employment sector and a lot of different sectors. So, but it's all about how we see our labels and our identities, both the top of the iceberg and also the bottom of the iceberg, how we perceive them, and how we can get them to become enablers instead of disablers. So this is the next activity that I want you guys to work on. Think about your identities. Think about how you've been perceiving them so far. And then think about how you would want to instead perceive them. How can you transform them from disablers to enablers? So I want you to reflect for 5 minutes, and then we're actually going to do a room-wide conversation. So I want to hear different people's comments on that. How does that sound? Good?
Awesome.
Let's hear. I've been eavesdropping, and I think there's some really interesting stuff. So, who wants to start? Actually, just speak. Yes, go for it.
So one identity I have is being a woman, and I'm just talking about it a little. Oh, sorry. So one identity I have is being a woman, and I guess in this society it's kind of hard because there's always like sexism and like the workplace and so on. But I guess it helps me in the long run because it makes me more determined and more like organized and wanting to achieve things.
Beautiful. That's a great example. Exactly what I'm looking for. So that's the way to look at it, right? She's a woman. And yes, spaces might make that much tougher on a woman. But she's learned how to take the characteristics and the personality that's developed because of that to help her for the future. Such a beautiful example. Others. And I'll share some of mine afterwards, but what are other examples?
You should have a guy give an example. I feel like they're being
Oh, yes, I want to hear a guy. I feel like there aren't that many guys in here. They're all sleeping in the chair. Now, is that a misconception or a reality? If it's a reality, speak up, guys. Defend your honor.
There's two guys over here. I would like to draw attention to.
Anyone else? Come on, guys, I'll start picking on you. I'll just start randomly pointing. And you know how that works. Both. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a Black African, and I obviously Blackness is very demonized in American and actually just the rest of the world. But I think there's a lot of pride in being Black because Black people have persevered and have been able to resist for 400 plus years, and they've created a lot of things. And I'm specifically from Mali, which had the largest university in the world, in Timbuktu, which is really dope. And the richest person to ever live, to ever live was from Mali. He was Mansa, and that's really dope. And so I have this really incredible history that I'm proud of, and so definitely Black pride is a thing that I cherish.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. And how is that an enabler? That's really beautiful.
It's motivated me to want to become inshallah someday a human rights lawyer, just to help other people and just being aware of the privilege that I have existing as a Black Muslim Hijabi. I'm in America, in fact, my parents moved here, so I can have access to better education. And so just also being aware of Black people being awesome.
Beautiful. That's awesome. What's your name?
Talia.
That's awesome. Okay, any other examples? The other person I pointed at.
Okay, I'm Juliana. I guess my I'm an international student, and I guess that would can be seen as something that's but for me specifically, I like it because it gives me a perspective being here in the U.S. It's allowed me sort of an outside perspective coming in here and just studying here. It's allowed me a lot of different, just to learn a different way of eating compared to just eating Malaysia. So I like that.
Beautiful. That's awesome. That's really great. Other examples, guys. Please voice your name.
My name is Maha. I grew up. This is actually quite interesting. So I grew up as an athlete. My dad, really wanted me to be active athletically. And so when I was in Libya, I actually was practically the only Libyan girl amongst other European girls, other Asian girls, riding horses, because there was a stigma against women riding horses in the country, and so I was the only Libyan girl riding horses there. And when I came here, and when I started wearing a hijab, that's a Muslim woman is playing tennis and riding horses. So for a time, that actually disabled me riding horses because you have to wear a specific outfit, and I kind of just didn't really trying to conform to that. But with tennis specifically, I kind of overcame people's judgments and, all the, what people said about me or the way they looked at me playing tennis. I had a coach that said, stop wearing pants. You can start wearing capris or shorter, pants. And so I often got that. But I kind of just persisted and played throughout college. Until college, yeah.
And what has that taught you by being persistent? How has that shaped you as a person?
What's the word? Not stubborn. I'm just
resilient.
Resilient, yes. So I don't really often listen to what people have to say about me. I know who I am, and I'm proud of the fact that I wear hijab and I play sports and I'm active and whatnot.
Beautiful. That's amazing. That's really great. Young brother. Okay, speak up, young brother.
My name is Am.
What is it?
Am. So it's probably not as disabling as some of the other things people have mentioned. But the one I thought of is that my parents came to the U.S. from Egypt, and as it turns out, it was just them who came. So growing up, I had only immediate family. We would go back to Egypt every so often to visit family. But very often growing up, I would be I'd talk to friends who'd say they were hanging out with other family or with people who they knew. And for a while, I think that, we didn't always have someone there. not a huge disabler by any means compared to what other people have said. But I think in the long run, it made us, my siblings and I, much lighter. And I think it also made us more aware of the family that we have in the U.S. and the unequal things about personality.
That's a beautiful example too. That's a really beautiful example of how something that could be disabling or a test has been a blessing to the family. That's beautiful. One more before we go to the third and final activity. I'll point.
You pointed and literally everyone like moved to the side.
Well.
Who's ever missed the last two moves?
I'm pretty sure it was Samira.
Samira.
I'm sorry.
If you're okay, no, don't worry. We can move on. Your pass? Okay,
What
we'll
is
pass.
going behind Samira?
Esma? Okay, Esma. Save Esma. Someone.
Alright, my disabler is very cool. Okay, so my disabler is.
What's your name?
Morjan.
What?
My disabler is not very motivated at the moment because, you always go through times where you're not very motivated. And I think my enabler for that is thinking about parents and thinking about how I'm the oldest and I have siblings that look up to me and I don't miss them.
That's a great, actually, example to transition to our next activity. Beautiful, Marjan. Thank you. So she talked about how her disabler right now is not being motivated, right? And a lot of the time, and I'm going to bring them back to the example of kids with disabilities, right? Their biggest disablers are the stigma. The charity stigma surrounding disability, that they're useless, they're a burden, they have no potential, no abilities. And then they start embodying this narrative. Imagine, they start believing that they're useless and they're someone to be pitied. But what helps every single one of us to tackle our disablers is refocusing and revisiting our greatest purpose in life. What is that, guys?
Please the Lord.
To please and serve Allah. Exactly. That's our ultimate purpose. So whenever we feel demotivated, disempowered, discouraged, pushed out from a space because of racism, sexism, and ableism, let's refocus and focus on the center of our purpose, which is to serve Allah. And the best way to serve Allah is to explore and reflect on our potential and abilities, our unique potential and abilities, because I do believe every single one of us do have that, and figure out how to use that to serve Allah. So that's our final activity. I want you guys to think about what each of you, what's your unique potential and ability, and how do you plan on serving Allah? What's your big purpose in life? What's your aspiration and ambitions? Think about the dream big. You have 5 minutes. This is huge.
The oldest in this group, then.
You're the oldest in this group.
Yes.
The
And I came here as a student 40 years ago, and I think the focus, you should have a goal, but you should also have the flexibility to adapt to what the environment or what the need is or what the situation arises. I started off being as an early childhood educator and taught, but now my focus is sort of changed in terms of doing more community service, doing more volunteer service, because I think that's what I call it. I'm trying to be more as a facilitator.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I actually want to push us a bit further, because she brings up a really good point. We need to be very flexible throughout life because we don't know what it throws at us, right? But
what are the unique skills? So for instance, Morjan, what made you decide, what is the skill that you think you have that made you decide to do medicine instead of others? You know, or I forgot your name, Auntie. What is it?
Naz.
Naz. Like, what is a skill that you think you have that allowed you to do early childhood development? So I want you guys to think about what is the ability and the potential that you have that is pushing you to that life purpose. Who wants to share? Juliana, go for it. Oh, you're there. Confusing me.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. So I'm a microbiome major right now. I'm a senior. And I worked in a research lab for going on 4 years. And I really, really like it. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. And I'm actually pretty good at it. Turns out.
Love it. I love the confidence. That's the way to be.
And so when I grow up, in a perfect world, I would eliminate or better eradicate malaria. First lab I worked on malaria. So I just sort of carried along that passion all the way through college. And I've broadened that passion to other infectious diseases, but that's really my main focus.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's a really wonderful dream, actually. Inshallah, you will get there. We'll be praying for you. That's a really beautiful dream. Anyone else? Tell me your skills and the potential and abilities and what is your life purpose? You want to? I will pick. I hear a laugh here. I actually want to pick on. No?
I mean, it's coming out.
Oh, it's over. The laughing lady.
It's Holly again. Skills. I don't know skills. I think I'm a pretty decent writer. I'm a journalist major, and I also have like 3 other majors, but like, because I'm really big into like, you know, flexibility, being aware of like how things run, and so like, as a person who wants to get into social justice, like I'm aware that everything is intersectional, and so like in order to help people most effectively, I need to be aware of how like their identities intersect. And so I'm also an African American Studies major, and I also minor in French and Middle Eastern Studies, and so like I think it's really important to like be aware of like how things work and how people are affected differently. And so I guess my skill would be like I'm really into learning and reading. I like such a nerd, I read all the time, and I'm also really into writing. And so I use my writing or like my words to like portray things to people, which is very crazy. But like literally everyone here can tell you how many times I've like gone on a rant about like the world and how I've like educated them on stuff. And so I think that's my biggest skill.
That is beautiful. That is actually really beautiful. And actually we need, to be honest, we need more Muslims in the journalism field. And we need more Muslims that are writing and being able to portray different perspectives and bring that out to the communities. I think that's beautiful. Great life purpose. Anyone else? Yes?
I have 3 levels of my life purpose on the personal, family, and society level.
I love it.
My personal life purpose is to achieve a sound heart. My family level purpose is to give dawah to my siblings and their offspring. And my societal life purpose is to engage in advocacy and education for care of those who have brain and mental disorders, whether it's dementia or bipolar or depression, especially in the Arab world, which is lacking in advocacy for those.
That's beautiful. First, 2 questions. What's your name?
Rana.
Rana. And what made you pick that goal?
I'm the smartest in my cohort. In my country, I was the top, and I have a big capacity for learning. So I've been learning since I was a child, and I never stopped taking classes. And so I'm multi-talented and multilingual, and I think that helps me communicate with different people of different abilities and backgrounds. So I want them to put my skills to this use.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Any other? I haven't heard a guy yet. Oh, someone's being pointed to. Ooh. Hamza. I've known Hamza since he was a baby.
So I was going to add someone said medicine already, but so I was going to the goals going for the pharmaceutical field. Like my goal in the long run is because the pharmaceutical field and medicine industry become so much more of a best way to make money. It's so lucrative market. So my goal is to hopefully become like as a distributor of the drug, like that, that's like a great potential of breaking the market, just price and stuff like that. And so you can make medicine affordable for getting the rest and stuff like that.
That's a beautiful, beautiful goal. I love that. Awesome. That's really great. And actually, that's a huge need, unfortunately, yeah. That's a beautiful goal. Anyone else? One final before we wrap up? And then you'll never see me again?
I guess I'll just go. So I know, like, I know what my purpose is and, you know, what I love doing and what my passion is, but I don't know what my skill set is yet. So that's something that I'm trying to...
It's a really good question.
Yeah. So
and do we, yeah. And do we actually, here's what I've learned in life. We are continuously growing in individuals, right? We're continuously uncovering our potential. We have many layers to ourselves that we don't know. SubhanAllah, Allah has created us in such a beautiful way. We're always learning ourselves and what we can provide. So here's one thing, and you actually, you bring me to a perfect conclusion, because this is what I was going to say. As the lady Naz said that we have to be flexible, right? Like we have to always be flexible with what the world brings us to us. We also have to be very flexible in terms of how do we take our skills and put it towards a purpose in life, right? I want every single one of us, on a daily basis almost, to reflect on your abilities, to reflect on your potential, to reflect on what has been a weakness of yours and what is a strength of yours. To reflect on how can you use those strengths for something good. To reflect on how can we use our weaknesses and turn them into something good. Because it's a constant struggle. It's a constant challenge. You don't know what life is going to put in your pathway. To give you a short example, actually, this past year, I was actually housebound. I would call it house arrest. Alexis, Hamza knows this. I was housebound for an entire year. And if you knew me beforehand and you were going to tell me you're going to be housebound for an entire year, I would have laughed in your face. I was housebound because I did a bone marrow transplant. So imagine, the doctor comes and tells me, by the way, you're going to do a bone marrow transplant and you're going to be forced to stay at home in isolation for a year. My life before that, I was living outside of a suitcase. I was literally traveling from one city to another, not staying there more than 3 days at a time for my work. If you told me that I would be staying in one place for an entire year, let alone one home, not leaving it, I went crazy. And for me, that was a test. But subhanAllah, it was one of the biggest blessings. It wasn't, I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It was a struggle. Alexis knows that. She works with me in ETI. It was a struggle, but why was it beautiful? 2 reasons. One, it got me closer to Allah, which is the best thing that could ever happen to us. 2, on a more of a professional level, actually there's 3 things. 2, I got closer to my family, to my mom. And then 3rd, my organization, that beforehand, my organization was dependent on a person named Sara. There was a founder's dilemma. Everything led to me. Everything depended on me, which is not healthy for an organization, right?
But this transplant, because I had to be completely outside of the picture for 3 months. I wasn't responding to anything for 3 months. And then the following 9 months, I could only be there as a virtual capacity. We needed as an organization to become strong in order for it to survive. We needed to come together as a team, and I needed to learn how to be a better leader. And to be a better leader, you had to empower your own team so they can lead. SubhanAllah, the organization now has grown to 38 members, staff, team. We're growing within the U.S. and Lebanon, and we were recently invited to the World Government Summit in Dubai, where we spoke there at the closing session. Imagine those, like, I would have never met, and take me a year back, I was in the lowest desperate, like, I was so depressed to a point where I thought my life was, but it's important for every single one of us to look at our challenges and turn them into enablers. You never know. We might wake up the next day and we might have cancer. Or we lose a loved one. Or get kicked out of our home country like Syrians. But if we keep the life purpose in our hearts and in our minds and in our soul to serve Allah, we're always going to learn so much beautiful things about ourselves to kind of achieve that goal. Thank you so much. I hope this was beneficial, and, well, salam alaikum.